Good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear us. It's already 10 and few of you are already here, but I think we can give us like 5 minutes of courtesy just to wait for more people to join us, and then we will start with the presentation of the tool. We will be three of us presenting. I mean, mostly myself and Carmen, but also Patricia is here to support us. We'll wait 5 minutes and then we can start. Thank you.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, Carmen. We just told to wait 5 minutes of courtesy for the rest of the participants to join.
Great. Maybe in the meantime, we could share the website link. So if someone wants to start registering, so that
Yes.
they could follow the presentation.
We can also set the presentation as well. So just let me put it here. Now, yes. So here you can find the website address, and you can already join through the web app. So you can register yourself. It takes like 2 minutes, basically. So you will ask, I mean, regular process to register yourself, and then you'll receive an email confirmation, and then you can log in with that ID. Uh, since you are probably in your computer, we recommend you the experience first on the computer, but also you have the QR in case you want to do it on your phone. Both options are available. And yeah, it will be great also I mean, because we're gonna show you the tool. Also, the tool will be shown live, the example that we're gonna show you. But it will be also great that you can start like somehow playing around and testing the tool by yourself during the workshop or afterwards. That will be great. Yeah, I give you 2-3 minutes to do the registration process as well. And maybe, I don't know, Patri and Carmen, if we can put it maybe in the chat as well. I mean, it's quite an easy address, but just since I'm sharing the screen, if you can just put it in the chat.
It's
Yes,
already there.
it's already.
It's already there. Okay, thanks. Well, I think we gave 5 minutes of courtesy. We are already 21 people. There is supposed to be a bit more people in the meeting, but then I think we're gonna start, and then people will join. I hope you had the opportunity to register. If you face any challenge during the registration process, please let us know. You can just write it directly in the chat, and then we will try to solve it live as well. We're gonna start basically just to give you a bit of the structure of the meeting, so you understand also for the next, I would say, 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. Let's see how much time it takes us. We're gonna start with the presentation of the initiative, like very short briefing. We don't want to take much of your time explaining that. Automatically after that, we will jump into presenting the tool with an example. I think that's the most important part. I don't know if the word will be training, but it's more like showing. It's kind of a demo of how the tool works and the different features that we have. Then we will ask you a few questions. Also, we need to understand if the presentation is clear and the tool and the features are clear. So we'll ask you a bit of your time to answer very quick questions, and then we can open the Q&A for you also to ask us like as many questions as you want regarding the tool or the initiative, anything you feel. I don't think we're gonna do a tour of table. I think we're gonna just jump into the presentation. I just wanted to present also the two organizers that are here with me. So I will let them introduce themselves. So we have on one side we have Carmen.
Hello, everyone. Yes, my name is Carmen Ruiz, and I work as an energy expert for Acciona.org Foundation. And we are in charge of the most technical part of the developing of the tool. I'll be in charge of showing you the demo and how the tool works. Thank you.
Perfect. And then we have Patricia.
Yeah, hello, my name is Patricia. I work in Action Against Hunger, and I'm part of the React team, taking care of mostly the uptake part of the project.
Perfect, thank you. And I'm Ibrahim, so I'm the head of the project. I also work for Action Against Hunger. We're the three of us working on this initiative. We're gonna again try to give you a very brief briefing of where is this coming from, which most of you will know, and then we will jump into the tool itself. So React, the name, why we choose the name. I mean, basically we're trying to have a catchy name, basically, but also that reflected that this tool is very much related to humanitarian practitioners and humanitarian workers. So the meaning of React is renewable energies for assisting communities tool. It's a joint initiative, as Carmen was saying, between Action Against Hunger, which has more experience that somehow in the humanitarian sector, and then Acciona.org, which is a Spanish foundation, which are specialized in access to energy and access to water as well. So it's the combination of both efforts from technical side and knowledge of the field and the humanitarian sector that we join to basically create the tool. Again, here, I mean, if someone was not here for the last 10 minutes, this is where you can basically register yourself to use the tool. It's fully available right now. Again, very briefly here, I think we're all familiar with why we should be working on energy in the humanitarian sector, but I think historically in the humanitarian sector, energy was not that considered. And has been always a bit underestimated as a sector, both from the population perspective. So why is important energy, access to energy for populations who are in stress or in need or displaced, but also for the organization itself. So for us who are in the field, and a lot of the times we're facing, well, shortcuts or not access to electricity from the grid, and we have to sort out things through either gensets, access to fuel, etc., etc. And we somehow we leave it to the logistic part of our teams to solve that thing out, right? So this is very interesting data information that is basically coming from one of the GPA reports that was recently released. I think it was last year. So there is estimated 11,000 diesel generators used in humanitarian interventions. That represents 190,000 tons of CO2 per year. Why is that, or why we believe in humanitarian interventions there is so much use of diesel generators? Well, use of fossil fuels globally. I mean, that's basically what we do, not only in the humanitarian sector, but in general. There is a lack of tools to understand how that can be switched and turned into something else. And there is a limited capacity. We're mainly focusing in this initiative on working on point 2 and 3, trying to bring tools that can help and facilitate that process. And there is also a limited capacity that we're trying also to break by showing the tool and trying to make people understand how it can be solved and used through what we developed that Carmen will explain you later. So again, very briefly, objectives of the initiative, there's mainly 3 of them, which is the develop of the tool itself, which is now React, dissemination among you and among humanitarian actors in general. We're trying to reach also the field as much as possible, not only people in HQ. We're trying to, as much as possible, this is basically developed to be used at field level. This is the objective. And we have a couple of pilots that are ongoing to basically test the tool itself from our side. This is part of the initiative as well. We'll tell you a bit more later. Again, a 3-way somehow initiative. I mean, mainly the initiative is acciona.org and Action Against Hunger. But we also have Universidad Politécnica de Madrid, which is the Polytechnic University of Madrid here, which are the ones that develop the software, and React. We're very proud of this collaboration. It was very successful in the way we see things. And we hope you see it the same way when you use the tool. We find it very easy to navigate, visual friendly, accurate, and that can also be said thanks to the work of Acciona, and also we believe is universal. It can be used in several sectors, in several geographical locations, sorry. Again, very quickly, to development, so we went through consultation process. Maybe some of you were part of that. It was through 60 organizations, 20 workshops. We did the field visits to understand if what we were trying to understand made sense. And the algorithms that are inside the tool are validated by energy experts. Why do we think is an advantage? The tool is open access, so there's free cost. You can access anytime, anyone can use it. We cover, or we believe that we're covering all humanitarian sectors, as you will see it now. We believe it also to be global. It can be used anywhere, of course, with some, I mean, somehow some limitations, right? I mean, we also believe, but we'll talk about that a bit later. This is more of, we're not trying to replace the role of energy experts. I think energy experts in the field are needed, and we do need to understand things locally as well. I mean, with this tool, you cannot solve any, or you cannot design a system everywhere. It will be more an approximation, and then you need to get it a more accurate design by someone who is in the place and can basically visit the area and confirm that what is being proposed makes sense. Yeah, perfect. So the tool itself, I mean, again, this will be presented by Carmen, but it has 3 modules basically. So if you just want to evaluate your energy needs, you go through that module. If you have the information already of your needs, you can include it directly and just go for the design itself of the solution. And there is the 3rd module, which is the more complete, which is the combination of both. If you neither have your needs in terms of energy and you also want to do the design automatically, you can do both in the 3rd module, which is the combination of the 2 other. Again, this is a bit repetition, but I think it's important that the objective of the tool mainly is to ease the communication with suppliers and donors, basically to facilitate information for energy experts and non-energy experts that want to reflect some of the information in technical documents, terms of reference, discussions that they have with their technical teams, logistic teams, programmatic teams, but also with donors, because it allows you to have an estimation of the cost, which for us, we understood during the workshop that was very important for people, because normally they don't know if that solar system will cost them like 10,000K or 30,000K, and it does make a difference. So we're trying to basically reduce that gap of knowledge. But again, we're not trying to substitute an energy expert. You do need, if you're finally installing a system, someone who will be confirming what the tool is giving you as information and it's accurate. Also very important from an advocacy point of view, for us, it provides arguments and data, which is quantitative, to justify and integrate renewable energies into humanitarian action. And you will see why later on. We're trying to calculate as well, like the cost of it and how much we're saving in terms of carbon footprint. And we're also providing economic comparison between the use of a diesel generator and a solar system on a year based. So basically, you can compare the advantage of installing a solar system throughout the years. Very quick, I know I'm taking a bit of time, sorry. We're just doing 2 pilots. One would be very interesting. We were just visiting there in Colombia. We're trying to bring portable solutions that are like solar systems that can be portable. We are giving them to medical teams that are doing interventions and moving into medical missions of long term, like 2 weeks, for them to use the systems in areas where there is no access to electricity. So far it's working well. We're quite happy with that. And there is a more classic one, which is the solarization of a school in Mauritania, which is also combined with community refrigerator and charging points. The idea of the community refrigerator and the charging point is to, with the money we'll be collecting, trying to make the system sustainable, because as you know, part of the problems is always sustainability of the system. When, you know, something gets broken, there is a need for repair, and there is no money in the community, etc. So we're trying to solve that situation. Still not, it's not ongoing, so we cannot tell you a bit more. But we're trying to do things in parallel with the tool and the pilots. And I shied myself, and now is the time to present you the tool. I will leave the floor to Carmen, basically, and we will jump directly into that, and then we'll go through the questions, if that's fine for you.
Thank you, Ibrahim. I'm going to share my screen, and please let me know if you can see it. Also, we are not sure if, since there was so much silence, no one asked anything. Are you actually able to unmute yourself? Could someone just say
Yes.
hello to us? Okay, great.
Hello, this is Nora.
And thank you, Nora. Okay, just checking. And also, if you have some question, you can just interrupt me or write in the chat or in the Q&A section. So okay, can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So this is React. You could access it right in the, or clicking on the link that Patricia just pasted on the chat. Just to give you an overview of the page, well, this is some information about the project, about React, and then we have also this section, resources section, in which we have some, so far we only have this training tutorials and the full manual to learn on how to use React, but we are working on also creating some additional resources that could complement the results of React. So first thing, you can change the language. We have 3 options: English, Spanish, and French. And then, as we were saying, if you would like to register and log in, you would have to click here. Here you can just register, really simple. Then you would receive an email. just make sure to check your spam, because sometimes, since it's the first time that you receive an email from there, you could not receive on the inbox page, but it would be on the spam if not. And also it might take a few minutes depending on the server. But once you have registered and validated your email, you could just log in, and the first thing that you would see will be this page, welcome to React. 1 second, okay. Here, as Ibrahim was saying, you could select the mode of operation of the tool. So you could check on create a project to evaluate your energy needs, design solutions knowing an energy demand. So you want to design a renewable solution to satisfy some known energy demand. You would click on here, or use the two modules together. So first evaluate the energy needs, and then continue designing a proper solution to meet those needs. Here you would have to enter the name of the project. We are going to write the name of the webinar. And then one thing we wanted to show you is that you can associate the project to a group from a list. So here I have different groups that I have created, but what is a group and how I create one? Here, you could click on here if you don't have it, but also in this menu, you can navigate and click on this icon in which you would access the groups page. Groups is just a functionality that allows you to invite some colleagues to share the project that you have created, and that anyone at any time could access the project. So if I want to create a group, so this is the group of training webinar, I could just create it. And then to start adding some people to my group, I would click on it and I would click on the plus button. So here, for example, I want to add my colleague Ibrahim. I don't remember exactly the email. I don't know if it's with your second surname, but I would.
Yeah, it's that one actually. It's correct.
Okay. So I would just write the email and I would invite him. So he would receive again an email with a link that he would have to click on it to accept the invitation, and then he would be part of the group. I could add as many users as I want. And then what would happen is that I show you here in my projects for other projects that I have. For example, this one, since I created from a group, the owner of the project on the page of my projects is the group. And if you are within my group, you could access this project and check it, modify, or download the reports at any time. Going back to the home page of the tool, now I'm going to start creating the project. I'm going to do the full process, so evaluate energy needs and design. So as I said, what are we going to do? We want to analyze, well, I'm going to write webinar. And we could modify that at any time. So the name is not that important. I create it, and the first thing that I see is this section on general information. What do I need to fill here? Mandatory is just the project name and the location, but also I have here a text box that would help me and could also help the colleagues within my group to understand what I'm analyzing here. So here, what I want to do in this demo is to analyze household needs and sizing of an office within displacement settings. Then, how can I select my location? I can zoom and move within the map, just clicking with the mouse. I could also obtain my position here if I'm at the place where I'm evaluating the project. I could also write the coordinates if I want to, or I can enter the specific location that I want to find, and then it would just move the location to that specific point. I can zoom and check if that's correct. Okay, so once I have the location, I would just click on next, which is save and next. Save would just would be kept in this section. If I click next, it would save and move to the next section. Next section is select sectors. As Ibrahim said, we had included all the sectors, typical sectors within humanitarian action. And here is just it. What it will do would be to open different questionnaires that would help me evaluate the needs within that sector. So as I said, I want to analyze household energy needs. So I assume it will be on shelter, but if I don't know, I could also I don't need to click, just put the mouse on top of this question mark and see here what is the information, this help information that we have included. So here it tells me, what can you measure in this sector? Household energy needs, community needs. So this is what I want to do. And then the office, if I would read all the question mark, I would find that it's here in logistics and telecom. I click on next. And then if I would like to go back, I could click on this button, back, or I can also move along this bar. So I could also directly click here. Well, so now I'm in shelter. And here I see the different activities, energy dependent, that we have included. So for household needs, I want to analyze general household needs. I click on here and I obtain the first questionnaire that I have to answer. Number of homes. We know that there are 450 households. Then the second question, as you see, it's already answered, but you can modify. Choose whether you want to calculate the demand jointly or per household. I'm not sure what this means, so I could read the help information box. Here, basically, it tells me that if the households are spread, we recommend to calculate the demand isolated per household. But we could also calculate it aggregated, and then for the sizing, so for the energy demand, it would add all the energy needs per household, and then the sizing would be to cover the aggregated demand. But I'm gonna choose isolated to calculate per household. Then select the energy needs per household. Here we have introduced the multi-tier framework approach, but we have included some information regarding what is each tier. So we analyze what are the needs of the population. And here I can see which of these levels it's more accurate to the, or more similar to the needs of the population that we are analyzing. In this case, I'm not so sure. So from here, I would read that at least it is recommended to choose tier 2. And this recommendation is given by UNHCR. So I click on tier 2, and then this is the minimum amount of hours that it's defined by the multi-tier framework approach. I decide to keep it this way because I'm not that familiar with energy needs. Then I continue looking at the different needs that are included within shelter, and I realized that I also wanted to analyze communal phone charging points. I click on here. I know that the number of homes were 450, and I keep the tier 2, at least 25% of the optimal charging points. If we want information on what is the optimal charging point, we could read it from the information box. I click on next, save and next, and I go to logistics and telecommunications. And as I was saying, here we wanted to size the needs of an office. So I see the different options, I click on office, and I start looking at the different parameters that I would have to modify. Area of the office is, well, I'm not sure. I think it's around 30 meters square, but I read the question mark, and what I see is that this number is used to calculate by default certain number of appliances. So either I can choose to introduce the area and then use the default number of devices that React suggests, or it doesn't matter, I can write here whatever and then modify the number of devices. I'm gonna show you now with the illumination so that you can see how modifying the area, I get this modification on the number of bulbs, for example. Height of the office, the same, it's used to calculate the volume, and with this volume calculate the number of fans. I have not a clear idea, so I leave the number that is suggested as a standard, 3 meters, and then the number of employees that go regularly to the office, I know for sure, and it's 14. So then I have to select the electrical devices that are included or that would have to be included if the office is not yet in place, or the energy access is not something that we are substituting from fossil fuel, for example, but we are just estimating. I know it's a very simple office. We have illumination, we have ventilation, and we have some laptops. That's it. But as you will see, there are more options that I could click. So here, as I told you, if we would modify this number, you would see that the number of bulbs, as I modified, it changes. So if you want more information what we are using, you could also read in here, but it's basically based on some standards. Amount of lighting per area, we calculate this number of bulbs. Okay, what else? Once I click here again, what I see, the only, let's say, 2 things that I have to answer, but have some parameter value by default, so you don't have to modify if you don't have the information. It's the type of bulbs. Here we recommend to use this technology, but if you modify, you would see also how the number it's modified, and also the technical parameters would change depending on the type of bulbs. The technical parameters are only accessible for the advanced form, which is directed to energy experts. So the idea is that if you have the information, you can click on the advanced form here and modify the power of the different bulbs that you see changes with the type of bulb, and the use profile. This is the time in which the device is on and off. But again, this is, as you saw, it's set by default. We have developed a technical database on the parameters, so you don't need to do that. If you have the information or you want more accurate results, we recommend to modify and write the exact power of the bulbs and the exact load profile. Then it would be the same for the other devices. Ventilation, we will leave fans, we will leave 2, which is the number calculated based on the area and the height. And I'm not touching more the advanced form. I don't have the information, so I stay on the standard mode, let's say. For laptops or desktop computers, as you see, the number of computers is just by default the number of workers attending the office. But again, easy to modify. If you know there are only 10, we just write the number. And that's it. I want to show you also what happens if by mistake you would leave some parameter empty or with a wrong value that is not allowed, or negative value, for example. So this would be, well, and I click on next. So first you will receive this warning message, this warning icon here, and the box would be highlighted in red. So this helps you find. Here it's very simple, but if you are in a longer questionnaire, it would help you to find where is the mistake and help you correct it. Here you have also this text telling you that it must be a valid number. So once you just fill it, it's okay, and we can click on next. And we go now to the evaluation results.
Carmen, I'm just gonna, because I think there is an interesting question related to this in the chat. I mean, I was going to answer, but I think just to make it a bit more interactive, which people, just to confirm, but yeah, no worries. They're saying how you should input data if you have a variety of different types, powers of bulbs in the office, which I think we might not be able to do. But I just wanted to tell you this question that's been raised in the chat.
Yeah, so far at this stage of the project and this version of the tool, we have simplified, and the only option is to include all the bulbs of the same type. We know this is, well, we are now receiving feedback and seeing what would have to be improved. We think that this would be one of the things to allow to select 4 LEDs, 4 incandescent. We recommend, if you have, so to take a conservative approach. Actually, the illumination would be one of the demands with lower requirements, let's say, so it won't be so critical for the design. But the only thing that you could do so far would be to now click on illumination and external illumination, for example, and include 2 different types of bulbs. So this is not the right approach, but you could just play with these options to include different types.
Yeah, just to add to that, I think one of the challenges of the tool was trying to keep that balance between making something that is easy to use and not a bit overwhelming, and giving to all the options and going through an approach where, well, yes, we're simplifying by standardizing that you only can choose one type of illumination. But then again, we're also here for feedback. So if you think that's critical while you're designing, we're happy to hear that. So thank you for sharing the questions, and please continue with the questions. I think it's very important as well to do this interaction, even though we will have at the end a bit of a questions and answers. But if you have a critical question during the presentation, please go ahead. Carmen, please. Yes, sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so now once we fill the questionnaires that we have selected, we go to the evaluation results. This is the end of the first module. So we have here different sections. So the electricity total, this is the power consumption along the day. Then we have also here the whole daily energy demand per sector and the total. And then since we click on isolated system for the household energy needs, here we see the demand per household. So that's this isolated system section. Okay, and important to mainstream the use of renewable energy is to know that to cover that energy demand with fossil fuel systems, for example, you would produce this amount of emissions of CO2 per year, and this is the equivalence in kilometers traveled by a passenger vehicle. The idea is to help you. Okay, we could, or we are already producing this carbon footprint because we have a diesel generator on place. So let's try to substitute with renewable energies, and this is the second module that helps you substitute, and let's reduce those tons of CO2. Before going to the next module, what we could do is to download a more detailed results PDF. I'm gonna show you. You would click on this button, and as I said before, then, well, I will show you later, but you could access at any time and download this PDF again. I have it here. And I think I'm just sharing the window, so you might not be able to see this PDF.
We can see it.
No, we can see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought I was only perfect. So this is the PDF. Well, this has more detailed information. You can download and check it at any time with a discretization of the different tasks. So for example, here at the office, you see the amount of energy for lighting, ventilation, and computers. And we think that it might also help you if the demand is too high to how to decrease this demand, for example, just playing with the different energy needs. And also the carbon footprint per sector and the total, but with some more information. Going now, clicking on next, we go to the second module, design of solutions. What we can do here, again, is to size an appropriate renewable energy system to cover the energy demand that we evaluated in the previous module. The only mandatory question, let's say here, would be to choose the urgency of the intervention. It is short term. As you see here, we see that React's sizes only compact portable photovoltaic systems, but if we click on long term, we would see a photovoltaic system, hybrid installations of photovoltaic system and hybrid system, and compact portable photovoltaic system. Sorry, for short term. Okay. Since for less than 6 months, we think that it's not possible to do an installation. So that's why React only sizes these compact portable photovoltaic systems. Then you have some also advanced form parameters here. You could click on that. But if you are not sure, I'm not sure, I'm going to click on that. React would size the 3 options in order to give you the information to select among the different systems. If we click on next, now we go. This is the second module, doesn't have so much to introduce by the user. It's more to get the results. This automatic sizing, and we would have here the 3 options. And for each of the 3 options, what we would obtain would be first technical features, very technical parameters, but that can help the organizations to have this first approximation of a proper system that could be used to satisfy that demand, and that can be introduced into donors' proposals, or to help you talk to suppliers also and check with the supplier if the sizing that they are doing is similar to the sizing that React gives you. And as we said, this doesn't substitute an energy expert, and there are many other factors that have to be taken into account. We had included some of that. I will show you now in the PDF that you can download, and we try to include more on the resources section, but there are many things that have to be considered. This is just a starting point. Then carbon footprint reduction, the difference of using this renewable solution compared to the fossil fuel solution, and the cost comparison. What we have here, it's an automatic calculation using some values that we have introduced in the database by default, that gives you a comparison of a fossil solution that would be used to cover the 100% of the demand compared to the renewable system solution, the upfront cost, that it's made of the purchase cost, logistics, and additional cost, some economic parameters, such as the levelized cost of energy or the payback period, and then we have here the accumulative cost comparison. We wanted also to give this comparison along the lifetime of an average solar system, to show you that even if the fossil solution might be cheaper at the beginning, so the upfront cost, as we can see here, might be much lower. After a while, there is the payback period, and the savings start to be given that the fossil fuel solutions always needs this operation cost, this expenditure on fossil fuels. But what we recommend here, and it's written here, is that you obtain more accurate values using the advanced form. So the idea is we give you an order of magnitude with React, and then you could get some values on the price of the components, unit price here. We tell
Carmen?
you what we have included by default. Yeah.
I think it's an important question. We can talk about it later, but I think since you're already in this part, and I think it's a bit critical. One of the questions is if we can tell more about the cost itself to better understand how it was priced somehow to do this calculation. So it's price per watt, type of PV modules, etc. So how did we price this standardized cost that we have included?
I think I don't know if this is because I don't know when was this, if I was showing already this, but this is what we have used. So this is unit cost per kilowatt. So here per kilowatt peak for solar panels, kilowatt hour for batteries, and kilowatt per for the inverter. So we created a database with different components, and we did some average for medium quality components. Then the same we did for generators, and we have established a linear relation, which is of course an approximation on kVA, against cost, and we establish a relation, and this is how we calculate for the generators, and the same for the different components. And the price of 1 liter of fuel is there is only this value, but this is super simple to know for a specific context and modify. And this has a strong impact on the cost. Then for logistic cost and additional cost, we have included a certain percentage of the purchase cost based on some bibliography review. This is an approximation. Of course, a logistic cost can vary a lot, but we wanted to give something as a starting point. This cannot be modified yet. These parameters will see, so these percentages, for example, we'll see, we're analyzing what's the impact and see if it makes sense to also allow this freedom to modify that. But for sure, this has a strong influence, the unit price. I don't know if I answer to the question on how we estimate the cost.
I think maybe we can finalize the presentation, Carmen, and then maybe we can open the questions and answers directly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I almost finished.
Okay.
This is the sizing for the standalone system. Before we told you what is the demand, and now what is the solution. And I'm downloading the same one as before. Here at the end, since you did, we did the 2 modules together, you would be able again to download both. But now I want to show you the report for design of solutions. Here. And well, it's the same, but more detailed. So we have also included some explanations on what we are showing, the comparison for each of the systems, because if I would click on the different systems, you would see the same, but specific for each of them. And then we have included here, as I was saying, some important technical considerations and general considerations for the intervention. This cannot be summarized in one page. We just wanted to give some information to start from, but that's it. that's, I think this is all. Yeah, so you could click on finish and you would go back to the homepage. And the last thing, as I was saying, if you click here on the left on my projects, you could again access the project at any time and go to the results and download them, or modify something because you got some new information, modify it, save, and recalculate. And from here also, you can also access the resources section and at any time get some help on how to use the tool. And that's it. I'm gonna stop sharing. Before going into the Q&A section, we wanted to, before you ask us some questions, we wanted to ask you some questions regarding what we have explained, to know if all is clear. So if not, we can also discuss a little bit more, and also to help us improve for the next trainings. So I think Patricia will launch the questions, and you might be seeing them on the screen here. So if you could answer them, those are just should be very fast, and then we can move to the Q&A part.
How's it going, guys? Sorry for the disruption, but I'm not having much luck signing into the. Oh, I'll put the camera on. Good morning, Adam, also from Action Controller Farm.
Hello.
I'm just not having much luck signing into the poll at the moment. I don't know if anybody else is having the same difficulties.
You don't have access, or you're not seeing it? Or you can...
No, I've access, but for whatever reason, I'm getting a contact administrator sign.
Oh.
Okay. I just don't know. Maybe someone else is having more luck.
Yeah, same here.
So what does it? Yeah, sorry.
I'll send you a screenshot.
Not sure why that happens, because I can see that and I thought you would be able to reply. Okay.
Okay, that's weird. Okay. Well, for the rest, I think it's fine. Some of you are answering. I mean, myself, I'm able to answer, but I don't know. I mean, I'm part of the organization, so yeah, we'll see if the rest is able to answer. We can finish that, and then I'm sorry for the ones that you were not able to do so. Actually seeing yeah, seeing did we talk about the resource section? Maybe I missed it, Carmen, because I'm seeing the 8th question. Did we mention it?
Pardon?
I
meant, yeah, I mentioned at the beginning and at the end.
It was myself. Okay, so my fault.
No?
Yeah, maybe. No, I think it's also important to, I mean, now we're building that section, but just to let know people that we're also trying to build complementary information, because I think, again, solar interventions and renewable energies are very complex. Or not, it's just not about providing design. There is a lot of things going around it. Is also very much context dependent, but we're trying to give some advice and tips on general use and general recommendations and related to operation and maintenance, installation, and also other some hand considerations that are more like social related, related to community, etc., that could be taken into consideration. Again, very general and basic, because the more specific ones will need a very context analysis to be more accurate. But there are some of them that can be provided from a general perspective, but also building that section. So you will not see more much for now. We just put it the video tutorials. So we still have a few months to work on that. We're trying to bring and put something that could be relevant for all of you. And I think we're done with the pool and the quiz. Sorry. Thank you for your time. We took almost 1 hour between the presentation of the initiative and the tool. I'm really happy to have you all here. I think we can open now the questions for all of you. I think both options are fine. If you prefer to write on the chat, we can, I can take the questions myself and we both, Carmen and myself, can answer, or you can just directly unmute yourself and ask us directly. There is one question, Carmen, I don't want to forget about that. You were ending the presentation.
I saw it.
The one from
I was
from
reading
the office.
for the kitchen appliances.
Yep.
Yep, I just saw it. So the thing is that it's not included in the office. Let me share again. I think it's more clear. Well, for everyone, we are answering the question from Betty Mutoka. She said some offices have kitchen appliances such as fridges, coffee makers, microwave ovens, cook stoves, and water kettles. Is this also captured in the energy needs evaluation, or did I miss it? No, you didn't miss it. I didn't show. So if we go back to here, and as I said, we can just jump on clicking on the bar. It's not included here.
You're not sharing the screen.
Which one am I sharing? Nothing. Okay,
Nothing,
great.
yes.
Sorry. Now, no?
Yes.
I click OK. Here, logistics. So it's not included in the office. You are completely right, but as Ibrahim was saying, well, we tried to organize so that it was clear to understand, but maybe for some, so we received the feedback that is not. For cold chain, we decided, so cold chain fridges and freezers, we decided to include this section apart because we think that it might be included everywhere. So here you could include the refrigerators option. But for kitchens, what we have is this cooking sector available. So in here, you could also, so it depends on the office. No, it could be seen as a household, I would say, depend on the size of the office. Let's say that it's like a household kitchen. And it's true, and this is something we have to work in to include some other appliances. But so far, what we wanted is to calculate the clean cooking energy that would be needed to cover certain needs for cooking. So it's based on the number of meals. If you want to include lunch or dinner or breakfast, and the time of each of the meals. And here you have a different, so you can select electric appliances or also other type of cooking. So this is not directed only to offices, but any cooking needs. But so far, we cannot include also, like you said, maybe this kettle or microwave is not included. It's included if you analyze the household energy needs. There it's included, but not just analyzing a kitchen. What you could do, so there is always an option. So it's not that you can select, for example, the microwave. We are aware of this. Oh no, it's not shelter what I wanted. Logistics. What you could do just for now is to here include some device and modify, I don't know, for example, tablet. I don't say this is not the best option, but at least you can include it, and you could modify the power so that it would be the power of the blender or the microwave. But so far, this is a limitation, so it wouldn't be included.
It's cheating a bit, but it works. No, I think it's important. I think at the beginning when we were like designing the tool, we were trying to consider like more basic needs. That was also kind of a demand, thinking more of we were more thinking of field offices, which of course field offices, they have also like cook stoves and microwaves, but we were like going more for the basic needs related to energy. But it's also good to have this feedback. I mean, we can take into considerations for if there is, for example, a second phase of the project, we can include this potential option. For now, it won't be included in the coming months, but it could be something that could be adapted, especially if like people find it useful. So far, we have received a lot of feedback from the office one. We were hoping, I mean, we were expecting more feedback on the other sectors, but I think the office is something that people pays a lot of attention to that. So I think it's important also to receive what your feedback and what you consider important or that is missing. Yes, we can open the chat for more. I don't know if you want to go ahead, ask directly some questions, interact with us. We've been talking a lot. So if anyone wants to ask directly, please go ahead. Yes, so Adam, please go ahead.
Hi guys, once again, Adam from Action Against Hunger. I'm also an energy coordinator there. I agree with you guys. I can see a lot of the answers that you're putting in here about 7 kettles, 6 things in an office. In my experience, you can write down, you can try and guess it as many times, but you'll never get close. You know what I mean? It's always a bit of this one. So I think some people out there can get very stuck on, okay, well, no, I've got 7 air conditioners instead of 2 air conditioners, but someone's away this day. It becomes very hard to judge. But this is what I wanted to ask. I've had a look at the tool before, and I'm interested in like pulling away the curtain a little bit. I don't know if you guys have used like Homer Pro and Red Screen and things like that, but there's always a little section that'll give you the calculation or how this calculation was made. I asked this for, you mentioned this being a global tool, or as much as you can say. But, things like peak sun hours in Iraq are going to be different than peak sun hours in Nigeria or Australia or Turkey or something like that. But if I could see how the calculation was made, then I could make my own adjustments later on. That's something I'd be interested in. And definitely, we're talking about the power, being able to, this is just a recommendation or something I think it'd be good later, is to be able to download a CSV or a file or something like that. Because I can see, once again, in your design section, you've got a part where you can put in, say, your average hourly power or something like that. But that's going to change depending on the year, and obviously that's going to change. My peak power is going to be a lot different than my regular power. And then people can, become a little confusing later on. But as you said, look, it's a great tool for passing out there, and then they can share with people's energy manager. But okay, so my thing at the end of the day was just, look, I'd really like at some point in time, you've got the great little question mark. I'd like to see some of the calculations in that one, just to help out a little bit, and then we can tweak if we need to tweak.
Carmen, do you want to go ahead?
No, I think it's a good consideration. So we could include. Well, we have a problem. I'm thinking already how to do it, but with how we program it, right now it would be difficult to include this question mark differently for each of the devices. Yeah,
I'd leave it out for the devices. I'm just talking more into the general sizing of a solar system at what time of year and what that was working out to be. You know what I mean? For example, okay. Like if I'm normally, sizing an off-grid solar situation, I size it for, say, the worst if it's off-grid, if it's no generator or minimum usage, for the worst time of the year on the peak sun hours, as opposed to the more profitable otherwise.
I'm not sure if we have included this in the downloadable PDF. So because of that's what we have done. So for off-grid PV system, we take the worst month. For installations with backup generator, we take the average month.
The average.
Yeah.
But perfect.
But we could include it somewhere, more clear. So on how we did. So this is maybe not so also more directed to non-energy. Well, it's for both, but at the end it gives you, like I said, the starting point is a first approximation. This is not a commercial software as Homer, for example, that allows you to calculate all of the parameters with much more accurate. But this is something we can do maybe to include more information on how this was done. For example, this that you mentioned, it's very simple. We can include. I'm not sure if we have included now in the PDF, but because the other thing is to try to make the tool user-friendly, and sometimes if you include too much information and too much technical information that anyone can see, it can overwhelm also the user. But with the question mark, this is why we included this could be solved, and this is maybe we have, but if you have some.
And that's the problem with many of these things. If you make it for everybody, you make it for no one. But if you make it too calculated, people aren't going to be able to use it. But I think about myself as the energy manager, receiving these from the thing. Oh, that's out. Okay.
Yeah.
So think if you have some.
At one point, Carmen, we were thinking about including how the calculations were made in the resource section. We have to understand which level of like detail we want to go through. I think for sure, I mean, I don't think we're going to be including it in the tool itself, because again, as Carmen was saying, we don't want to complicate things while using the tool. I think if you, for example, are particularly interested, you can go to, the resource section and try to understand how it's calculated. Yeah.
No, that'd be quite interesting. Look, as I said, it's just I think about the back checking later on. As you said, you talk to someone else, and if I see something, I'm like, okay, how did they work that out?
Yeah, if you know about it, of course, you want to double check if the calculations are right and it goes with your way of thinking as well. We are, I mean, again, resources section is a bit being built, so we need to understand a bit what we want to share in terms of technical calculations. I think it's part of the ongoing discussion. So hopefully in the coming months, you will have, one section where you can understand better how these calculations were made. Thank you for your question, Adam.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Someone else wants to ask a question, share directly?
I think there is one in the chat.
I haven't seen it.
So,
sorry. Go ahead.
Would you recommend a specific range of number of households? Does the tool work as well for 10 households and for 100 households? We don't recommend a specific range because it should work the same. So it just, if you select the isolated quantification, then it's just you are just sizing for one household and saying that it's the same but 100 times. And for aggregated, it's aggregating the demand. So it shouldn't matter if you select 10 or 100. I hope that I answered the question.
Yeah, I mean, we just wanted to give the option because we won't know the size of the place or the context you are solarizing. So we just put a standard number just to give you that approximation, but that you can switch it. As Carmen is saying, it doesn't matter. For us, it's more related to whatever the size of the camp or the area you're working on. So yeah, it will work for any number, basically. I mean, if you go crazy on number of households, it will be a massive system, but yeah. I mean, it can happen. We still have 20 people in the room. I don't know if you have more questions. It can be related to also the initiative itself, to the tool, anything you have in mind. It can also be feedback. We're not at the stage of changing the tool, so that was more at the design process, but we're happy to receive that feedback for maybe upcoming versions. So maybe not, the change won't happen in the next month, but it can happen in the next 6 months or 1 year. So yeah, please, Carol, go ahead.
Hello, hi, colleagues. My name is Carol Mungo. I work with UNHCR here in Mauritania. I just had a question on, for example, the case study, Ibrahim, that you mentioned on the schools and sizing of the schools and the potential economic opportunities with the fridge and the charging system. Does the tool capture this, like potential, like the rolling in the impacts that the system can bring? And for example, if I say the school can be able to make $50 or $100 a month thanks to this technology. I mean, do you go to the impact, like the social impacts in that sense?
Yeah, thank you, Carol. I don't think the tool will reflect that. We're maybe thinking if we can give some hints on the resource section that could be in that way. We are also thinking to include like a participatory approach. I don't know if guideline, because guideline sounds very serious, but like hints on how to do that. Is also for us, it's also a learning process. We're trying to go through that. It's a pilot that is ongoing, so we need also to understand how it will be working, particularly that you're in Mauritania. Since we will be doing the pilot in Mauritania, I think we will take also lessons learned from that particular pilot in that context. But I think sometimes it's difficult, again, to provide general guidelines for different contexts. I think the example of Mauritania will work for Mauritania, and what we learn there will work for you guys, and we can share these experiences. But then in another country will be completely different. So I'm not sure the content, like the experience will be that useful. So I think we're trying to bring in the tool things that can be somehow applied in different contexts. So if we go too specific, then we lose a bit the sight. So that's the balance we're trying to find. So for example, for us, we can exchange on our experience, particularly during that pilot with you. And I think it will be very interesting. And in general, we're trying to bring that guideline on participatory approach, which again, will give like very, very general approach, or how we can approach things and steps on providing this during the consultation process, but also during the operation and management of the system. I hope I answered your question. I'm not sure.
Yes.
It's a clear message.
Okay, thank you, Carol.
Just to add, to include the financial modeling would be a complete complex tool itself. But as Ibrahim was saying, we'll try to complement with some information and also with the lessons learned on the pilots that we are doing, that we think that we will extract very useful information. I think we have another question on the chat. How accurate are the measurements of energy consumption of households? This, we are following the multi-tier framework approach suggested by World Bank. So we haven't tested and compared to real, actually we haven't implemented any pilot on that. So it's as accurate as the methodology suggested by World Bank. And then, can we base our future procurements on this data, or is still more of an overview meant to give us a general idea? We always recommend, so this is the starting point. You have the economic cost approximation, technical approximation, but we will always recommend to have an energy expert analyzing the specific case and providing a more accurate design.
So this is just to jump on this, is a tricky question. I think it will depend also on your context. In some cases, if you have the opportunity to double check this information with someone from your team internally or someone that can be as an intermediary of the system. Otherwise, in some other contexts, you can give an approximation directly on the TOR, and then in theory, if you hire a consultant to follow up during the installation, it can double check that before you hire the contractor, or in some cases the contractor can check these calculations, but it can be a conflict of interest, of course, because he can tell you, no, this is completely wrong, you have to make it bigger, etc. So of course, if the contractor is the one giving you advice, it's not the best because he might, wrong you. But I think it also depends on your context. If you have availability of experts in your team, if you're planning to hire someone as a consultant that will overview the implementation of works, I think it really depends on the availability of resources that you have. Again, for us, we tend to believe we're giving more of an overview than a super accurate design. I think in some cases will be accurate, but in others will be an approximation. So we prefer to be on the conservative side of things. So for now, no more questions in the chat. I don't know if you have any more questions you want to raise. Otherwise, it will end here. I don't know if Carmen, Patricia, we have something else we want to share, if you have any additional information.
Checking the responses of the quiz, we saw that maybe the group's functionality is not that clear. So just to remind you, so the groups, well, let me share again. That's the last thing. Just if it wasn't clear, we think that it might be very useful. The groups section is here on the left menu. You can create a group at any time and invite as many user colleagues as you want. And then you could create projects within groups so that anyone at any time that it's part of that group can see it and access those projects. So for example, here I have different groups. I created this one now, training webinar. And since I created this project within the group, so again, when you start one project here, you write the name and then the name of the group you select. Since I created in this way, wherever, then it would be included in the group. So now if Ibrahim, that I invited him, he accepts my invite, he will see the same project within his section of my projects. Yep. And okay, for how to add the people to the project, maybe I just repeat. You are here, you click on the name of the group, and you can invite users just clicking on this plus button and sending the invite. If you want, I could share this group training webinar that I did with you. If anyone wants, can write his or her email on the chat, and I can add you to this group so that you could check the project that I created live with you. Just to see what's the email that you receive, how to click on the accept the invitation link and all that. I hope that it's more clear now. And yeah, if there is any other question.
I would just comment now that if you, as some of you couldn't respond to the quiz, we will send around an access to the forms, because we also have that on forms. So anyone who could not respond, if you don't mind, if you have just 3 minutes, would be very useful for us to have your replies and your feedback.
Amazing. Thanks, everyone. We just wanted to share a last note. We are continuing to do these workshops in other languages as well. So we'll have a Spanish session and a French session. And probably in January, February, we'll have another one in English and in the other languages as well. So just to let you know, if you're one of your colleagues, you want to send them the link and the invitation, we will be able to share it again, and we can forward it to you so you can share it with colleagues. Okay. Thanks again. Thanks for your time. Thanks, Carmen and Patricia, for the presentation, and hope to see you soon somewhere else.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Good day. Bye.
Oui.